$1, $2, $3. What does that equal? $3. Welcome to the $3 podcast. My name is Travis. I'm more of a very interested bystander involved with this and leading you through these conversations of a father and son's business, Eric, Aidan, and Jameson Buckley. And we're going to start this podcast with spend this $10,000. That sounds like fun to me. I can spend that very easily. Imagine you're a small tech startup. You've got a product, maybe even some early interest. But behind the scenes, everything is still a manual and time consuming. Prospecting is random. Lead capture is inconsistent. Follow-ups fall through the cracks. But you've got $10,000 to invest in building a real infrastructure. Just enough to create systems and processes that actually move the business forward. And today, we're putting Aidan Buckley in the hot seat. If this were his $10,000, not mine, his, how would he spend it to build that foundation for early growth? I'm going to set this up for you, Aidan. I'm a small B2B tech startup that has $10,000 in total budget. No real automation, manual outbound, a basic CRM or none at all, leads slipping through the cracks, and I need a scalable system within 90 days, 3 months. And I'm asking, how should I spend this money to build infrastructure that will actually cause growth? And you've been the main builder for the operational backbone behind 2 companies. I am interested in your perspective. How are you going to spend the money? So my first question, when a startup says they have $10,000 to invest in infrastructure, in your view, what's the biggest mistake they make?
Well, I would say something like paid advertising or something like that. We know that firsthand. Anything like that, especially paid ads, whether it's LinkedIn or Meta or Google, without throwing a lot of money at it, will definitely just eat up your money real quick. So that $10,000 could be gone within a few days for something like paid ads. So I think thinking about ads or anything like that is probably a trap that a lot of people fall into.
Then what's something that founders always think they need, but you would avoid entirely? Is it just paid ads entirely?
I wouldn't say entirely. It depends on the use case, but definitely for a small, tech startup with $10,000 to invest, I would say definitely stay away from anything like that. Yeah.
So if you had to allocate a full $10K today, then how would you spend it, and what does that look like on a real, a spreadsheet of where you want the money to go and value you're going to get out of that money?
I would start probably with good old SEO. I think that is a great thing to invest in if your site is, 100% perfectly set up for SEO and traditional Google search, and there's no problems with your site or your pages or your URLs, and it's showing up for the keywords. I think that is probably something that should be invested in early on. I know at LeadSpot, we were kind of putting it on the back burner for a while, and then we eventually hired an SEO team and did, a full SEO rework of our site. They did a whole lot of work with our site over the course of several months, and now LeadSpot is in a great spot. SEO wise, it's showing up in AI search results more than ever now. So I think that is probably something that can take up a good chunk of that 10K, but that is something that should be set up first and solidified. Yeah.
What about, automation, workflow, automation? Is there anything like that?
Oh, yeah. After the site and all that's set, I think that would probably take, I don't know, depending on the situation, we'll say 4 to 5,000 of the 10K. I think after that, setting up your outbound channel is super important, and I would go with, I'd say probably like $1,000 on, an email sequencer like Instantly or Smart Lead, and then the actual infrastructure for your email accounts and your sending infrastructure, and then something like Clay to help you bring the world of all the GTM tools together that people use for cold email into one place, so you can work on your campaigns and create lead lists from there. Clay is the best tool that I've found personally, like ever. I couldn't imagine doing outbound without something like Clay. But I think definitely outbound is very important. I would say that's probably, with Clay and with finding leads and emails and everything, it's probably like $2,000 a month. But I think definitely outbound is super important, and then also email, and then LinkedIn outbound too. So a tool like HeyReach, where you connect your LinkedIn account and then you can automate LinkedIn campaigns side by side with your email campaigns. So you're doing multi-channel. I think that is super important and definitely will drive the needle.
We have to talk about then this aspect of priorities. And I'm surprised about what I'm not hearing. So I have some things here that I want to ask you about. When it comes to prioritizing, you got 10K and you've got to, put this over this. What do things like, prospecting automation, lead capture, CRM capture, AI agents, where do those all fit in the priority structure?
Personally, I think CRM is a waste of time. I think Google Sheets is just fine for a startup. Prospecting automation, I guess could be done with things like Clay, and you can build workflows inside of Clay that will let you, for instance, find people who commented on posts or people who are talking about certain things, and you can set those up to run. So those can be automated workflows that get you leads. But I think a lot of that stuff isn't super hard to do manual, and it's probably kind of a waste of time to, invest a whole lot into prospect automation and a CRM when you're just starting out, because you're not going to have a whole lot of things in place where like you need a whole CRM. Like we still haven't needed a full CRM, and they're super confusing to learn how to use and not very intuitive. And I don't know, I've never really enjoyed using CRM softwares, but I think you can definitely, with a good outbound channel like set up and in place, multi-channel outbound, and then SEO in place, you can start just, simply creating content on your site, like your blog, and then cross-posting it to places like Reddit, being active in Reddit threads, posting your content on Medium, and just getting your brand out there naturally and organically. Eventually it will move the needle, just the same as, any automation you set up in place that could ultimately backfire and hurt you because it's being automated.
So two final questions about this one. What's the absolute most important thing to build first? And then what creates your pipeline the fastest?
I would say SEO is most important, and then personally, cold email fills the pipeline the fastest still.
Really?
Yep.
30 days. I got my 10K today. 3 days later, what happens? What should I be trying to create or working to create in the first 3 days? I looked up, pipeline visibility, outbound traffic. What's the most important thing to try to create in those first 30 days?
I would, assuming your website is perfect, but I would say probably like product pages, comparison pages with you and your competitors, resource pages, all sorts of pages that are full of keywords that people are searching in your space, and like industry pages, like, who you serve. Like for instance, on Outright, there's like small businesses, solo founders, SEO agencies, and then a page about each of our features. So make sure your website has all sorts of helpful pages that are, linked between each other. And that will help, your Google search ranking and your AI search ranking. And then, sorry, what was the next part?
Well, my next part is, and this is really important to me, you mentioned Google and AI search ranking. First 30 days, what's the most important? Is it Google or AI visibility in search ranking?
Well, I'd say first before, without even like a time frame, but I'd say first before anything, SEO, like traditional SEO in Google, is the foundational layer that you can't skip. And then AEO is like a layer on top of that to optimize that further for, AI search engines. But I think in the first 30 days, probably just making sure your site is traditionally set up for SEO and your Google search rankings.
So big win, first 3 days, we get to, a month from now. If I have those two things set up, we got to win.
Yeah.
Definitely. I love looking forward, but sometimes I got to look back to figure out what I've learned.
Yep.
So if you could go back in the Wayback Machine, what's one system that you, Aidan, would have built earlier, or one tool you would have bought on day one?
Probably our cold email. Even though I did very early on, and it was struggling for a while before I really learned how to do it. But if I could go back in time, I would definitely set up cold email the right way and use a tool like Clay and kind of do all the things that we're doing now to where we're seeing results. Yeah, that'd be nice if I could go back in time and.
Dads or dads, what's one thing your dad wanted to buy and add to your tech stack that you said, no, Dad, we're not doing that?
I don't know. There has been times with that scenario happening, but I think more it's just like kind of suggestions for the website. He's kind of got a little bit more of an old-fashioned way of thinking about the website. He wants things to be kind of longer sometimes, things, less sleek than I have them in my head, and I kind of have a more modern way of thinking of the site. So that's kind of what we run into sometimes.
Parents are hard to raise. So, are you a poker player?
No.
Okay. Well, I know you play games, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If you had to take your entire 10K and put it on one thing to make you a winner in your game, in this game, what would it be?
Cold email.
All the way.
Yeah, definitely.
Push all 10K on the cold email.
Yeah, if I had to, yeah.
Okay. All right. And why is that?
Like I said, still for us, it's getting the most results. It gets us the most leads, the most meetings, the most demos, and it's just great. It's a great skill to have. It's a great channel, and don't listen to anyone saying it's dead, because it's not.
So, thank you very much for sharing this with us. I mean, that's a whole lot in a short amount of time, but there's several different ways you can spend that money, and I'm surprised I didn't hear, hey, I had to have new MacBooks, or I had to have a Herman Miller chair, or all that stuff. It's really on foundational aspects of building the tech infrastructure for your business that actually creates revenue.
Yep.
It also seems like you're not trying just to buy tools for the sake of buying tools, but you need real operational, ROI or leverage to make your business move forward.
Right.
And I think now, you're watching this and I'm listening to this. It really changes my perspective on, this kind of mindset applies to other parts of other businesses. Hey, if no one knows who you are, they won't know what you have, and they won't buy from you. So I think that's very interesting how you did that. And if you have this working, then is getting funding for your business a hard thing? Is getting customers as hard as it is? But if you have this right, how easy is it to get customers when you have all this stuff aligned?
I mean, comparing it from when we first starting out to now, it's night and day. I mean, we get customers every day now for both of our companies, and before with LeadSpot, it was one every few months, and it was a grind. So definitely night and day.
So there you have it, folks, from Aidan himself, and he's built 2 companies now on this same kind of approach, mindset, and perspective. And it seems, in closing this out, that it's more than just acquiring tech and using it. It's about building the systems and processes and then let them scale to what you're doing.
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, I'm Travis with the $3 podcast. We've talked to the second buck here. We'll see you next time. Thank you much for joining us.